Thank you.
That's just when I change my filter and prime it out anyway. I add it with more concentrated. It's gonna break down.
Battery low.
More concentrated in the filter.
It shouldn't be.
Good.
It ain't no thing. Yeah.
I can definitely tell the difference.
This side, this leg.
We're
gonna take a break in a minute anyway. What? One second, y'all, cause I really want to respect Mr. Lee time. And, yeah, but I still gotta respect your time. Any tools that drivers and trucker owners should have with them, and then if you choose to stay after that, then but we're gonna have take a break. But any tools, what tools you recommend? I done stocked up on tools, but just so they know, because there's a lot of stuff real petty that you getting roll calls for, and they tearing you apart on
the tools you have to have like
and parts.
Yeah, you have to have. Let's go with the parts first. You have to have, if you have 30 brake chambers, you have to have at least one in your truck. The brake chamber. So the 30s might be for the front. Sometimes the 25s. You know, the 30s. So you got one brake chamber or one of each. The smaller one and the 30 you have, and then your trailer and the air cord. You gotta get one in your truck. And you gotta have a spare tire. You gotta have some antifreeze. You gotta have at least a gallon of oil and also a gallon of fuel, diesel. You gotta have a filter wrench.
You carry a gallon of diesel?
Yeah.
Don't it go bad after a while if you don't use it?
It don't go bad. You can sit there for a minute.
I keep the same thing. I got the gas.
You have, at least have it. Because the reason why I did it, remember, I think your truck, you said you leaning on the side. Okay. So you lean, all you need to do, sometimes if you don't start, that's why I said that if you don't start, you don't have anything to siphon the fuel from the tank. All you need to do is crack the fuel filter open, pour it in there, put it back in, boom. You start it like that. If you don't have a gallon of diesel, now you gotta go find a diesel. Let's say you are at the delivery site.
Yeah.
And it's a little hill, you know, anything can happen. You got a filter ring, and then vice grip. Get a vice grip, a 3/4. You gotta get a little nose ply. At least you need to get a set of two, a little toolbox. And then I've helped a couple of drivers on the road with zip tie. You know, when the airline is leaking, I say unplug it, bend it like that, and put a zip tie. The air is gonna build up. You come back home, and we fix it for you. You know, so you gotta have what you call it, some windshield washer fluid, just about it.
Extra airlines.
Yeah, the airlines. You gotta have it.
Some power tools as well.
What about the hose?
Yeah. You gotta have one there, but mostly I go on the scale 70. I went there to go get a guy. He told me he was on the scale and they gave him green. Now truck won't go, so they had to pull him back there. You know what happened?
Well, I'll talk about that later, but a lot of y'all don't know I lost my license recently. But it's some stuff with that. With them scales. Yeah, but there's a lot of things that we do out here that catch up with us in a real way. And
So
it don't seem serious to us, but it's serious to them.
Yeah, so the guy, what happened to him was he flipped the power divider on, and the power divider was leaking air into the rear. So he locks the brakes up. You know, so that little bit, the truck won't move. So he built an air up and push it in real fast, and he was able to move back there. So he said he needed a brake chamber. So we bought a brake chamber. We went over there. Now we troubleshooting it. We don't hear the leak from the chambers. So I hear the leak a little bit. Then I went in the truck. I saw the party, but you got the classic. So you got the suspension, then you got a fifth wheel switch, and then you got a power divider differential lock. He put it on lock whilst it was rolling, and that caused it's leaking into the differential itself. It's bad, the O-ring. So I just flip it. I said, man, just go ahead.
What, you flip the O-ring?
I flip the switch back to unlock. It's air operated. So when you flip the switch to lock it, the air is supposed to go and actuate the forks to lock the differential together.
Right, but why he couldn't just flip it?
You don't know.
Right. So think about how many years it took to understand that. That's why I was talking about paying dues earlier.
Yeah.
And I can tell you,
that leak too, though, so that's what kind of pointed them in that direction.
Right.
I went on a roll call the other day. It was $1,300 to that company for air leak. And so when you start talking about calling companies for service, they gonna bust you in the head.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is prepare us so we don't have to. So it's better to go to a shop than to wind up in a shop.
Yeah.
And then that was just a roll call. I still got to the shop and still had 4 or 5 or more hours worth of work. That was a completely separate bill.
Yeah.
So
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Getting to a shop and having to get.
if he would have had the mechanical experience, all I did was back his brakes off. I was going to cage him, but whoever sold him the brake chambers didn't have the keys on it. So I just backed his brakes off, turned my lights on, escorted him to the shop, then performed the work when we got there. If he'd have knew that he could have had one wrench and one socket, bang, bang, he wasn't going nowhere but Delaware. He could have went and delivered the load, dropped the trailer off, had it fixed, picked another trailer up, kept running and making money, then went back and picked the trailer. You see what I'm saying? But even if he had the knowledge, you know how many people I go to know how to do stuff? Man, I used to fix old trucks and ain't got the tools.
You gotta have some tools.
You can't do it with your hands, you ain't King Kong.
You gotta have some tools.
So you gotta be prepared. You gotta have extra bud connectors, extra wire, extra hoses, extra clamps. Fuses. You need fuses and all type of stuff with you.
Right.
Fuses and light bulbs is a necessity.
Exactly. So, stop checking your tires by kicking them. You need to put a gauge on them.
Tire pressure.
Because just like you can be legally blind, 80 pounds and under is legally flat. I've been put out of service like that before. I had to break my airline up to add my tire up and they let me go. So it's little things being prepared. It's better to be prepared than to get caught in a tough spot.
Some more question. What kind of truck do you have?
Volvo.
I'm proud of you too, man. I ain't heard from you in a minute. I ain't know you had a truck.
Yeah, I let it sit for a year because I started doing, like you said, running scales and doing all the everything I ain't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's a trucking life.
Yeah, true. But it's a 07 Volvo with a high sex on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all did it, man. I got pulled over in Florida one time. The police said, well, you ain't been through no scales. Do you know that all those scale cameras are linked and they register you when you drive through?
Yeah, by the time you get miles down the road, they catch you like, man, you didn't do all the scales up there.
Yeah, but
I ain't know that.
And I just lost my license from pulling off from a scale, even though my own personal reason I felt he was profiling me, and I mentioned that to him. I said, I feel like he's profiling me. Because I don't even have a trailer and I'm in a brand new rental truck. Why am I even being pulled down?
Right.
But my personal feelings don't supersede the law.
And he took them.
No, I got put out of service, and normally I may stay or I may wait a little bit a while, but this particular time and this particular officer, it was boiling in my mind. I did not feel like he was doing right by me. but feelings ain't got shit to do with business. So I turned my lights out and I left. I went out to scale backwards, and they tracked me down, contacted Maryland, and got into situations with my license. So, and because of that, that caused me to have to go on to the job market because they suspended my license, which means insurance won't take me, which is why it took so long for me to rebuild my transmission.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you go from creating your own income to being paid by people and taxes coming out, life is a whole lot different, but it's a sacrifice that you make. And also, any of y'all that's feeling bad about how trucking going right now as far as rates, don't, because we still much more fortunate than any other field out here, because I can tell you personally, from going into the job market as of recently, which I haven't been in for years, we still make more. A good job is considered like $60,000 to $75,000 a year. If you own a truck, you make more than that. The biggest problem is cost of living, and really in our particular community, we spend a whole lot of money on things that don't have anything to do
So
with
even
nothing.
with a truck payment, you think we still in a good position?
Yes, you still make more in 3 or 4 days than somebody making 2 weeks.
Yeah.
An average job gonna pay you like $1,700 to $1,400 to $1,700 every 2 weeks after tax. Ain't no owner operator out here ain't making that in a week. Right, so we still winning. We were spoiled. Things were so good that we have become accustomed to living a certain type of way, and we based our cost of living on what we was making.
Yeah.
And when shit got bad, people couldn't hang up, and they faced with a choice of keep these things
Right.
that don't mean anything, or hold up the front and sink with the ship. And that's what a lot of people doing. That's why a lot of people selling trucks. Y'all don't know. Recently, I gave away every single thing I own. Everything, every tennis shoe, every piece of furniture, jewelry. I don't own anything but work clothes.
Why you do that?
First off, because I believe in myself, not to sound cocky, but I have extreme confidence in myself, and I know that anything I've gotten, I can get again. But also to put my back against the wall and to cut my cost of living down to as close to zero as possible. And can y'all give everybody a little bit of respect, please?
Yeah.
To cut my cost of living down to zero so I can weather the storm, because my business is more important than some items that don't mean anything. And plus, once I put myself in that situation, it gave me no attachments to anything. And a lot of stuff, look in your closet, how much stuff you got your own wear? It's taking up space. Every single thing in this universe is, we are electromagnetic beings, all right? Not to get off the topic, but every single thing on this planet, in this universe, is made of energy. Okay, so when you start cluttering your life with a whole bunch of stuff, it's drawing energy from you, it's cluttering your mind. Think about the old saying, less is more. You go into a boutique and they got a couple of items that's clean, fresh. Then you go over a woman's house, excuse me, but clothes all over the floor, you know, stuff all over the place, and not just women, men as well.
Right.
So, you know, I took everything out of my life, and also I'm not grounded in Baltimore. I live here. I stay here, but I don't live here. I may be leaving here.
Yeah.
But you want to cut your cost of living down, because if you set just the business to it aside by itself and take out your personal stuff, you know, a lot of people went out and bought the most expensive house they can afford and the most expensive car they could afford, myself included, at times in my life. And from growing up and not having things, sometimes you need to do that in order to, it's like a football trophy. When you reach a milestone, you congratulate yourself. It's like a pat on the back, but in reality, all of that shit is bullshit. We don't need half the cars we got. You can't even sleep in but one bed. You can't drive but one car at a time.
I can agree with what you said, because I was just staying in this high-end apartment on Tulsa. So when shit got bad, I let the apartment go.
Yeah, fuck
Put
that
my
apartment.
storage, January 17th of this year, I called them a Russian company. I was on the road since January.
Right, and
The DF system went up in that truck. The dude, I was in Chicago for like 3 days. He tried to put me in another truck. That truck went down. So I switched companies. So from March all the way up to last week, I've been living in a truck.
Right, but see, and don't feel no type of way about that, and we make voluntary decisions, but also, America has been,
hard reset.
American, it's depending on where your mind at.
Because I know what I was doing.
You been in prison before?
Yeah.
I know, I just wanted you to say it. You done lived way less.
Yeah.
Come on now. And made it work. So what I say, the same game, different thing. Take that discipline from there, apply it here, save your money, you're back right on track. This is a temporary thing. All markets go up and down. But what I was getting to, America has been sold a dream. And the dream is the big house, the big car, the job. You go to school, okay, you go into college, you get your first junior job, you may get married, buy a house if you live in that American dream. Then when you get the promotion, you go and get the bigger house, and the bigger car, and all you do is add on more and more debt. And what the Bible say? The borrower is slave to the lender. So you voluntarily put yourself in lifelong slavery. And then what happens as soon as you about to pay that 30-year mortgage up? Do you pay it off and stay there? No, because you too good for the hood now. So you go move out to the neighborhood where they don't even want you. Sell the house and start a whole new cycle with debt that she ain't gonna pay off till you die. And then pass that down to your children. They ain't got nothing and lose the house because it wasn't paid off for. And then what happened? Then you blame it on the man when he come in for the reverse mortgage. Give you a few penny scraps because you're old and you ain't got no retirement, and call it being taken advantage of. But really, it was mismanagement. We are responsible for our own personal actions. All right, ain't nobody doing nothing to us at this age. All right, in this time in life. Yes, there are factors working against, but this factors working against everybody, and it ain't what happened to you. It's what you gonna do about it.
Right.
So we're gonna point the finger, or we're gonna do something. You know, a lot of people out here failing trucker companies. Look how many single companies that is out here. My last company wasn't even, I didn't even create that for me. That's why it was called Migos. That's a slang term for brothers. We had the meeting and everything, try to bring everybody together. You stronger, fist is stronger than a finger. I can snap this. This, you use this as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to stick together. Then you get in the pinch, and then you crying about ain't nobody looking out for you. When if you was already stuck together, it wouldn't even have got that far because each hand washes the other. I just had a deep conversation with a brother from Somalia the other day. We was talking about 2-3 hours. And he was telling me how he got 7 cousins here. He from Dallas. And he's got cousins all over the country. And he said, you know what? If one of us get in the jam, everybody put together $500 and get it. If it's 7 of them or 10 of them or 12 of them, you know, that's $5,000 or whatever it is. And I can get my truck fixed, or they can move. And then he said, you know what else? If something else happened to somebody else, that's not me taking $5,000 and putting it up. I'm putting $500 because we all got this system where we all working together and looking out for each other. But what we do, we're gonna kill somebody because they bought a new pair of Jordans, or bought a pinky ring, or got $1,000 extra. You know, dumb shit. So that's, you know, this ain't about trucking. I told y'all a long time ago, and you can go on the internet and figure out about trucking. What I'm doing is transferring my spirit to y'all, because spirits are interchangeable. We was talking about energy. All of us have an aura. That's why you come around certain people and you automatically dislike them or like them. Or some people can come into a room and brighten the whole room up. That's because their auric field came in contact with everybody. You know, so we gotta look more deep into the unseen, and even if you have a negative, you gotta backtrack your mind all the way to when you're a child and figure out the things that happen to you, which triggers you to act how you do as an adult, because we all went through different things as children, and adolescents and preteens. All right, whether it be family members or experiences you had with your friends, and that shapes and molds you as you grow up. So you gotta. It's called self-evaluation. I took a training one time where they told us to take us outside of ourselves and look down at yourself like you're looking at the camera. Think if you're looking from a satellite versus you're looking with an iPhone, you can see a more clear picture. And you need to go back and resolve some of them childhood issues and find out exactly who you are and why you act how you act. Because when you find out more about you, it'll help you deal with the world more productive. So if you meet somebody and they got an attitude, do you think they have an attitude towards you? Some people just have things going on in life that nobody privy to. And unless you sit down and have a talk with somebody, you'll never find out. So we need to have a talk with ourselves. And in the black community, therapy ain't real looked upon or used, but my personal opinion is we don't need it. That's why we have families. But our particular families have been broken up, so we don't have the great aunt or the great uncle to go talk to you and figure things out. You know, so it's up to us to rebuild more thriving families and friendships as well, because there's too much hating and knick-knacking going on, and it's gonna stop with us because those before us have already did what they're gonna do. And every great leader that has come has been assassinated or jailed and put in prison for life. And that's the sacrifice I make even sitting here trying to do this. But it's not all up to me, it's up to everybody.
It is.
So with that, I thank you, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, appreciate
We're gonna take a
you for
break. I'm
having
gonna
me here.
smoke my tobacco
Yes,
pipe.
sir.
And Gotti,
Yeah,
Gotti started a
Yeah.
trucking fraternity.
Yeah, I just was going to speak on that.
Yeah.
Well, he about to break lay the whole
He's,
thing now. You know I gotta put you on the spot, guys.
Yeah, I know.
443-271-1204. 1204. 1204.
Anybody want Peter go ahead? They fired me because I went to sleep for half an hour late. It's a small.
Yeah. For the park car. Yeah.
You gotta own one to get one.
Yeah, I know something about the park
Make
car.
sure you fit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's small.